Hello guys and welcome to another video by me, Behemoth. And today we will be doing a little bit different, a little bit of something different. Today we will be watching how you can use the stat step in League to recognize your own mistakes and hopefully work on them in order to get better. So the stat step is something that I have not seen many players use, even though it is really beneficial if you know how to use it. So today I will just showcase what you can do with it, and then hopefully you can do it yourself and maybe even save yourself a few bucks from coaching you now don't need anymore. Okay, so in order to get to the start step, you first need to select your profile. I have selected a profile from a friend of mine who is on my friend list, because I have just not played any ranked this season, but he has, and it is really important to have a few games of sample size to really tell something about your playstyle and your problems. I would recommend at least 50, but everything beyond that is even better. Okay, so you click the stat step, and then depending on what role you main, this guy is an AD carry main, we will select bottom. Okay, then there's a few adjustments you need to make. First of all, you can select the tier you want to be compared towards, all the way down from Iron to Challenger. We will be doing Challenger, just for the sake of problems being showcased a lot better if you compare yourself to the best of the best. And then we will not be looking at the recent 10 games, but we will be looking at the entire current season. And we can see up here that now the game sample size shoots up to 68 games. So this is a fairly okay sample size, and hopefully it will show us what we want. Okay, so there are 3 tabs: combat, income, and map control. That are all interesting to us. I would not say they are quite equally interesting to us, but they are definitely all interesting. Combat is basically everything regarding trades and damage and CC and stuff like that. Income is everything regarding gold and minions, and map control is wards and objectives and stuff like that. Okay, so let's go through some of the categories we have here. First of all, Challenger is of course our bar. Okay, so first of all we have KDA ratio. It's something that a lot of people of you might may be familiar with, as it's used in pretty much every esport. And in League it is not that much of a big deal, not as much as in shooters and something at least. There are some players who have pretty terrible KDA ratios, namely some players like Baus, but they still manage to win a lot of games in really high elo, just because they have a playstyle that is geared towards actually dying to gain something else on the map. So this is something that you want to view in context with some of the other stuff. Then we have kill participation. This is how many kills in the game you were a part of. And this is a pretty good indicator, at least in jungle and in top lane even, to really see if you guys win the lane and you still have low kill participation, then you won the lane. Okay, you got ahead, but you didn't really use it to snowball the game. And you generally, if you have like a kill participation of like 70%, it's a really hard carry by you in solo queue. In team ranked or in competitive leagues, generally the kill participation is going to be a lot higher for everybody, just because there aren't that many solo kills. But still, this is a pretty good indicator on how well you are doing to carry the team. Then we have utility score, and you may notice that it is really low for him. This is everything regarding CC, shields, stuff like that. Everything that's supportive in a way in combat. And you may ask yourself now why it's so low on him. This is because this guy is a Kai'Sa main, and Kai'Sa does not have any innate slow stuns, stuff like that. She only has a shield on her ultimate. And this is really something something that you need to watch out for. If you guys main a champion like that, then this category is going to be really, really low. If you guys would main something like Jhin, who has a stun and even slows, then your utility score might shoot up a little. And then it's something that you can actually use in order to see if you use the champion's potential correctly. But here, in this case, with Kai'Sa, it is not really of note. It's going to be low no matter what. Okay, then we have damage per death. This is the stat that is way more important than actually KDA ratio. And damage per death is how much damage you do for each death. It's pretty self-explanatory, and you can see that this guy's KDA ratio is a bit lower, not really that much though, but not really that much. So it's not like a giant gap. But the damage gap is actually pretty big. It's 400 to 500 damage, and what you can deduce from it is that he's not essentially dying too much, but that he deals just in general a little too little damage. And something that with this thesis, something that really undermines it is if you watch the next one, damage share. This is how much damage percent of the team you did. It's 20% here, and in general it's 23.5. So this is quite a bit lower, and especially for something like AD carry, this is something you really want to watch out for, that this number is a good number. So we have identified one problem yet, that his damage in game is a little lower than it has to be. This could be because of a lot of reasons, but at least now, if you guys go into the replay, or you even go into the replay if you see this video, you can see what to look. You can see what to look for, and maybe look where there was a chance to deal more damage than you actually did. Maybe you played too safe. Okay, the next one is income or gold income and stuff like that. Then we have, first of all, we have damage per gold. Yeah, this is basically another thing like damage per death. It's just in a different aspect, and we can see that same thing goes for here. It's quite a bit lower than average. Basically just as much as damage per death. So this undermines again our assumption that he does just a little bit too little damage and doesn't really farm bad or doesn't really die a lot. Then we have early gold advantage. Yeah, this is a nice to have stat. It's really matchup dependent, and this is why a huge sample size is required for this to really be something that you can use. But if you play like a lane dominant champion that should win most lanes, and you can't really get a consistent early gold advantage, then you might be playing the lane wrong, playing it too passively or even too aggressively and dying to jungle ganks, for example, which is something that we see a lot in Darius players and people like that you really have to push their leads. Then we have early CS advantage. Basically the same, basically the same thing like the early gold advantage, and yeah, just in case for the CS. And then there's CS per minute. If you guys see that your CS per minute is really low, or a lot lower than the rank that you compare yourself to, but your early CS advantage is pretty high, then there's a problem that you might be able to farm quite good in early phase, but then you forget farming in mid to late game, and that's a problem that a lot of players have, because they just tend to look for fights way too much, forgetting that they actually have to farm. This is something that like players of pretty much all elos have to varying degrees. And it's something that you can definitely look for in your own replays. Just keep in mind, if there's a position where you just walked around like for a minute or two, okay, what could I have done differently in order to minimize the time that I'm essentially doing nothing. So next one is map control. And first of all, we have objective control ratio. This is basically how many the ratio of objectives you help take. So if you're part of a Baron take, a Herald take, a Tower take, a Dragon take, anything like that, then this is the number. And we can see that for him, the number is a lot higher than the average player. This might mean that he gets really involved in gameplay, not from a damage perspective, but that he's there on the map. And yeah, so this is something that you can look for as a strength. Then we have vision score per hour. This is something that like everybody struggles with, even if it's decent from the number. It's still like how you use the vision. It's something that really is a masterclass in League, and we can see that he is one of the guys that also struggle with it, potentially because he just doesn't buy enough pink wards, or because he doesn't use them. Could be anything really. But fact of the matter is, he does not have enough vision score to really compare to challenger AD carries. And so if you guys look for pro and anything near that, your vision score should probably be like a considerable margin higher than even the challenger one, because vision is information, and information is winning games. Then we have roam dominance score. Roam dominance score is how much you actually leave the lane and be a part of plays outside of your lane, like in the jungle or in mid lane or top lane, from bot lane at least. Okay, so we noticed that his objective control ratio is fairly high, and now we see that his roam dominance score is also really high. So this ties together that he tries to be a part of a lot of plays around the map, and this ties together as a strength of his, that he's always there when there's an objective to be taken, and thus is a valuable part of the team. He still has the problem that he doesn't deal enough damage, but that's something that he can fix, and now this is something that he needs to be careful that he does not lose the strength. Okay, then we have kill conversion ratio. Kill conversion ratio is if you take an objective after a kill or after a fight, anything, then this is getting counted towards this. Is if it's a turret, dragon, herald, anything, doesn't matter as long as it's any objective. And yeah, the number gets higher the more objectives you get after kills. So yeah, this is weirdly, this number is a bit lower than the average challenger, which I would have not expected, looking at his objective control ratio, his roam dominance score. But maybe he does not actually manage to get roam timers off quite well enough to actually secure the important kills for objectives, or if maybe he just doesn't get the opportunity to do so. This is something that you need to watch for in replays, and that you can't see like from the stats tab. Okay, so this is the brief tour of the stats tab, which turned out to be not quite as brief. But so one other thing that I want to show you is you can actually track your progress quite well. If there's a lot of games, it's obviously going to be more significant than only a little game sample size going to be. For example, let's pick a stat that is actually something valuable. Yeah, let's pick damage per death. So we can see here with this graph, and we can see that he has quite considerable bounces in gameplay, where he does well at one point and really does quite terribly in others. This is something to be expected because of the still fairly small sample size. If you have like 500 games, things are going to be looking a lot more even. But if we would suspect that it's going to be more games, so we can actually gain something from this, and we can see that there's an incline here. We can actually deduce that he is playing a lot better around this stat. And yeah, this is if you can see this in your own gameplay, then you can actually see that something you basically get better in this part of the gameplay. So this is a quite powerful tool for anybody who does not have the chance to be to get a coach because of money or because he doesn't want to. Or it could be anything really. To just analyze your own gameplay a little and be on the lookout of what you can actually look for in your own replays and what you can look for as problems or strengths. Okay, so this is going to be it from my content today. As always, I'm really happy to see a few people watching this video. I wouldn't have expected it, to be honest, and I hope you guys could learn something from this and maybe even use the stats tab from now on, because I think it's a really underutilized feature. And I hope you guys have a great solo queue and have a great week now. And yeah, you can follow me on my Twitter at behemoth_lol, I think it is. It's also on the description, or you can just message me on Discord with any of your questions. Or yeah, you can even subscribe and like this video if you learned something, or you just liked it, or anything. I would really greatly appreciate it. Okay, so without further ado, you guys have a great week, and bye bye.